Hey y'all, it's Corbin, and I'm just here to talk to you about the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 9, Episode 4. And honestly, this is not going to be a long video because not much happened. They could have honestly put 2 days of this Lake Norman trip in this episode, and depending on how this trip is going to go, I just have a feeling that they should have put the entire trip in one episode. But let's get into it. So the episode starts off where it left off with the girls in the car on the way to the lake house. Mia is still questioning Karen about this DUI or checking in with her as she likes to frame it. And Karen, she shuts it down. She's like, look, I can't talk about it and I'm not talking about it. So they move on and they start talking about the girls, and Mia lets Karen know that the girls think that Stacy is boring. And my whole thing with this is I don't think Stacy is boring. Stacy's just not wild. She's not crazy. She's not, all about drama. And they need this balance because all you other girls are messy. So y'all need someone who's just chill and quirky. Like, I think Stacy is like a perfect fit for the show. But she lets Karen know that, and they're going to revisit that later. We go to the other car, and it's Giselle, Wendy, and Jacqueline talking. And so Giselle lets Wendy know, she's like, well, Wendy and Jacqueline, that she has some unfinished business with Karen about this whole event situation. And Wendy's like, can you just address this tonight? Because I don't want this spilling over into the rest of this trip, especially because this is supposed to be about my birthday. Giselle tells Wendy, I will address it tonight, but there might be some spillage. And I'm with Giselle on that because we know how Karen is. Karen is messy. Karen likes to hold on to things, and we know Karen does not like to take accountability. So they end up talking about Jassy and Jacqueline and how Jassy called Jacqueline Mia's henchman. Going over to the next car, the rest of the girls, they're talking about how they all like older men. We finally get to the house. The lake house is beautiful. They get there, there's a concierge there. And the concierge was giving, this was Mia's nephew. The concierge was giving, this was Mia's friends' kids. And they all got together and was like, let's dress up and pretend we're a concierge for Mia so we can come. I bet you those people who were at the dinner last night, I bet you, I bet you those were their kids, actually. Something just connected. The people who were at the last dinner at the end of the episode, I bet you all of those was their kids. And they were doing this so they can, all be on this show and so they can look classy. But the setup looked nice, the house looked nice, the presentation of the champagne and everything, like it did look nice. I will give them that. The girls start looking for their rooms, and we took way too much time watching these girls go find their rooms. I feel like that was like 10, 15 minutes of the episode. And that right there is already giving me that there might not be much happening on this trip. So while they're looking for their rooms, Karen and Giselle, they're sharing a bathroom. They have like a little dialogue, about that. That was funny. And then we find out that Kay, she has the room with the bunk beds. Now, Kay was upset about it. And then once Stacy got there, and Stacy was like very, light about the situation, she was like, oh my gosh, like bunk beds. Kay was like, all right, let me not be too upset about it. For me, if I'm going on a trip, I prefer my own room. I prefer my own bathroom. And if I'm booking a hotel, of course, like I'm getting a suite. But like, as long as I know the situation, the sleeping arrangement in advance, I'm okay with sharing a room. If it's one of those things and I show up and they're just like, hey, like actually, there's not no if, because I'm never showing up to a situation where I don't know the sleeping arrangements. If I don't know what the sleeping arrangement is, I'm not coming. If I ask and I don't get an answer, I'm not showing up. I don't care if I already paid for it. Actually, if I paid for it, I'm getting an answer. But yeah, I'm going to know the sleeping arrangements before I get there. And as long as I know, not that big of a deal. But they end up getting settled into the house, and then they end up having lunch together. Stacy arrives, and so Jassy and Jacqueline end up getting into it about the whole henchman situation. So they're going back and forth, and so Jacqueline, she gets up and she's like, I'm every woman. I am, a bad bitch. She's like, I got the brains, the brawn, this, and everyone is looking at her like, girl, please sit down. Karen is looking over it. Mia's looking like, oh my gosh. Wendy's looking like, what the hell is going on? Everyone's just looking confused, and the moment kind of just fell flat. And Jacqueline just had a lot of flat moments. And Jacqueline didn't look bad before in the previous seasons as Mia's sidekick. She really, I think this one episode right here made her look awful. Between That moment that fell flat right there. Then afterwards, once they get in, everyone's getting ready, and she's in the bathroom or she's in the bedroom with Jassy, and Jassy's apologizing for everything. Jassy made a comment and was like, "Oh, you look good from neck up." And so when she was apologizing for that, Jacqueline's like, "Was it my outfit? Like, this is my airport outfit." And I'm like, "Girl, like you are really looking sad right now." But they're going back and forth about that. And so, like I said, she makes that comment. And my thing about this is with Jassy, Jassy gives pick me also. Because Jassy says, I was making the joke about myself. I was just saying I'm going to be a better henchman to Mia than you will be. And honestly, I think she will be because Jacqueline is too soft. Like we had Karen making her cry. She's not able to hang in there with an argument with Jassy. Like she's too soft. At least Jassy is a pick me with mouth. So she can back Mia up. Jacqueline does not have the capability to do it. Jacqueline cannot go head to head with these girls. Jassy, while she may not be able to, take on Karen or Giselle and stuff like that, I feel like she would do a better job trying to hang in there. She can take on Ashley, which is a start. So I feel like she would do a better job at hanging in there. And that's what Mia needs. Mia needs a stronger henchman, and Jassy is that girl. But Jassy also gives me pick me because she wants to be, like I said, Mia's henchman. And then the whole situation with the guy last week, too, when she's like, oh, I'm his first serious relationship. Like she just gives pick me through and through. So we get past that situation. And Mia announces, she's like, hey, I have some friends that are coming over later tonight. It's the parents of everyone from the concierge. Oops. Can y'all cut that out? I didn't say that. And that's what she said to the producers, to the cameraman. But she's like, my friends are coming over tonight. We're going to have dinner and we're going to have a good time. There's going to be a boat ride before that. And so they asked Jacqueline, like, oh, well, since you're Mia's friend, y'all have been friends for a long time. Do you know these girls? And Jacqueline's like, yeah, like we're acquaintances. And Mia's like, well, her and one of the girls, they used to be close, but Jacqueline left the group chat in a very dramatic fashion. So Stacy, she's like, Jacqueline, like, are you beefing with everybody? Like, you just had it in with Jassy. She's like, you're not getting along with me as other friends. And I know Stacy and Karen talk. So I'm sure Karen told Stacy you had an issue with her. So in Stacy's mind, she's like, you have an issue with Karen. She didn't say it, but I know she's thinking it. So that right there, segue Karen. Karen saw a door and she's like, oh girl, I'm walking right on in. So she confronts Jacqueline about Jacqueline making the comment about her calling her drunk. Karen's like, Jacqueline, you called me for advice. And me and you, we were like really cool. We've gone out together and stuff like that. For you to come to this event the next day. And look, she's yawning because she's getting tired of the episode too. I'm with you, girl. But she's like, we're cool and you called me and then the next day you want to come in and say I was drunk. She's like, I wasn't drunk. You're a liar. You need to shut up pretty much. And so Jacqueline tried to go back at her and she said, I can't remember what she said, something along the lines of like, you're like a liar or you get your words mixed up or something. And she was trying, but Karen was just overtaking her. Karen was on her like a bull dog. And I'm like, Jacqueline, you need to step up. Okay? You need to step up. You act like you're this bad bitch who could just handle anything. And like, you need to step up. I'm not saying get buck wild and go crazy and cuss her out or anything like that. But if you're this bad, smart, articulate bitch, read her down. But no, Karen was dragging her. Giselle, I'll give her some credit because Giselle tried to come in and help. She's like, no, look, Jacqueline did not mean it like that. Like when Jacqueline was talking, like she didn't mean it maliciously. Karen was not hearing it. Karen was on her like white on rice. So she's going at her and she's just like, you're not a friend of mine. You never will be a friend of mine. She's just going at her. Jacqueline starts crying. And so the girls are comforting her. They're like, don't cry, don't cry. And Karen was like, look, girl, you can cry till the cows come home. I do not give a damn. And like I said, Jacqueline is just really going out sad. Like when she walked in on the first episode.
Occasional sadness should pass in a short time. Talk to a friend or family member and spend time with friends or family, doing things that usually bring happiness.
Thank you, Alexa. What the hell, y'all? But yeah, that too bad I can't send that to her. If me and Jacqueline was friends, you can talk to your friends through the Alexa. I wish I was friends with her. I'd send that right through to her Alexa if she can afford one. Let me not say that. But so yeah, they're comforting her. She's crying. She's going out bad. I'm like, girl, get it together. And like I said, between the whole thing with her talking about her airport outfit and wondering why Jassy was coming for her, and then how she was acting at the end of the episode at that dinner table, like she was just really looking crazy. And so I used to think, because I'm like, okay, like Mia's on the show. They're giving this girl like a lot of like flack, like just coming for her, calling her Mia's representative and this, that, and the third. And like, I wasn't seeing it at first. I'm going to be honest. But now, like, this one episode put a lot into perspective about her. But we move on from that. The girls start getting ready for this boat ride. Ashley's on the phone with some guy ironing out her storyline. And I'm like, girl, you should have had this phone conversation before the season started. Not you working on your storyline while the cameras are rolling. Does she know the cameras are rolling? And so she's ironing out her storyline. They out there in the back shooting deer. Something is going on because gunshots is going off while she's on the balcony. I'm like, girl, you need to get in the house. Y'all need to leave. Like, we ain't got time for this. The last thing we need is you girls arguing and bullets is whizzing by too. Like, not at all. So Karen and Stacy start talking. And so Stacy was talking more about, her marriage. And I'm just like, I appreciate Stacy sharing this with us. And I just hope this isn't one of those things that drags on like Ashley's storyline. Like, we've already had enough of watching Ashley get divorced for 10 years. Like, I hope that her divorce wraps up in this one season, which I have confidence in her that she will, because like she's not faking the funk unlike Ashley. So I feel like she will. I hope so. But they're talking about that. And she's talking about telling her daughter. And my whole thing with this, and I think I said this in my last review, is that kids are smart. Like, they pick up on these things. They know that y'all aren't sleeping in the same bed. She knows, your daughter probably knows that y'all are not sleeping in the same bedroom. Your daughter probably notices that when, her dad comes home, you're going to stay at the other apartment or vice versa. Like, kids pick up on these things. And I feel like also it sucks that she's going to wait for everything to like be finalized to tell her, because then it's like, you don't know her feelings on these things, like she might want to go spend more time at, one parent's house, or she might want to stay in this school district. So it's like, by the time you tell her, you're waiting to the point where she can't make a decision about things, or she doesn't have time to process it. It's just like, boom, it's happening. But to each his own, to each his own of how they want to handle things with their kids. It just like, I'm just thinking about like what I would do if like my parents just got divorced all of a sudden while I was a kid, and just like, hey, we're getting divorced like today and you're going to the school district. Like, that would suck. So it is what it is. But in the middle of this, like, Karen just pretty much cuts her off and it's like, girl, that's all important and all, but the girls are talking about you're boring. And I'm like, damn, Karen, like, do you care about this girl at all? No, she don't care about her. Karen is just trying to get everybody on her team right now because she knows the odds are stacked against her with this DUI situation. That's all this is right here. So Stacy is like, who said this or whatever, and Karen is like, it's kind of just a general consensus. All the girls are talking. The girls get ready. They're getting on this boat, and my eyes were just hurting watching everyone's outfits clash. I wasn't expecting the girls to be like color coordinated or have their outfits coordinated or anything like that. But everyone's styles are so drastically different. It was just hurting my eyes watching them all walk down to the boat. Like, it was just like overstimulating. I'm like, oh my gosh, there are too many different styles, too many different patterns, too many different outfits going on. And what the hell was Ashley wearing? Like, Ashley, you are a beautiful woman, but you just showing your skin does not make it fashionable. It was just driving me insane. They get on the boat. And so they're split up and they're talking in two different sections. And so Stacy and Kay are talking with Jassy, and they start talking about the whole lawsuit situation with Kay and Deborah. And so Stacy's pretty much like, we're just waiting for a court date. Not Stacy. Kay is like, we're just waiting for a court date. So then she's like, well, what's going on with you and Ashley? And she's like, well, Ashley aired out all my tea pretty much, and I'm kind of upset about it still. And so Ashley overhears them. Ashley's like, girl, all I said was that you have a friend. That's all I said. Relax, it's not that serious. So all the girls end up coming together and they end up addressing the situation as a group. Stacy pretty much tells Ashley, like, I feel like you diminished my situation. And this is my thing with Stacy. I understand if you don't want like things coming back, your kids seeing things, or like, your husband, soon to be ex-husband seeing things, but right before that happened, there's a scene of you throwing yourself at this man at the gym and pushing your butt up on him and asking how badly you want to have sex with him and stuff like that. Like, that's worse than what Ashley said. All Ashley said was, you have a friend. Yes, it was messy, but it wasn't the worst thing that could have been done. Like, Ashley usually be starting rumors. At least she didn't start a rumor yet. So, like, I'm just like, girl, like, it's not. And then you're saying she diminished him. You're diminishing him by calling him a friend. Or am I tripping? You're diminishing him by calling him a friend. So, like, what do you mean, girl? So I just hope I hope she doesn't hold on to this forever, because it's just like, all right, like, Ashley made one little mistake. Like, let's not drag on this one comment for the rest of the season. Because one thing I don't want dragged on is a storyline. I don't want to see your divorce dragging on forever. I don't want to see Ashley's divorce dragging on any longer, which, what is even going on with that? Because we're not talking about it at all. Like, why is somebody coming at her about that? We coming at everybody else for everything. Nobody's coming at Ashley about this divorce situation. And so I hope we don't drag this on forever, though. Like, that's the last thing I need, is us dragging this on. And so Giselle jumps in, and like, y'all, I am loving Giselle this season. It is wild. I'm loving Giselle. Like, coming to she's coming to freaking Jacqueline's defense, even though, girl, Jacqueline can go. We didn't need it, girl. Let her get dragged. She's coming to Jacqueline's defense. She's coming to Ashley's defense. She addressed Karen later on in a very calm manner. She's apologizing to the girls. She's making up with Wendy. And yeah, it might be forced, but it is still nice to see her like this. I don't care. And then we already love her with her kids. Like, the trajectory that Giselle is going, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but she might end up being my favorite housewife on Potomac. Karen still is. And even Karen in her villain era, I'm loving it. But Giselle's getting there. I'm not going to lie. She's really getting there. But Giselle jumps in. And so she's like, well, Ashley was hurt that you said that, she was messy and all this other stuff. And Ashley's like, yeah, like, you called me messy and you just like flew off the handle about the situation. And I'm like, girl, we just met. And this is where I know that Karen is in Stacy's ear. That's all this is about. We seen Karen in Stacy's ear earlier when she's like, girl, I don't care about your divorce. I need to tell you that these girls are calling you boring. Karen is in Stacy's ear. So I'm sure Karen was in Stacy's ear about Ashley and was like, yeah, Ashley is messy. Giselle is messy. I'm sure Karen put Stacy on game about all of the girls in there. And so she's like, yeah, you call me messy. You like, you really don't know me. So they get past that. Stacy starts opening up about her divorce, and she's just like, it's a hard time for me. And I'm like, I get it, girl. I get it, but don't drag it on. But I do get it. And so I don't get it because I'm not getting divorced, but I get it because I'm sure that's a hard situation for somebody. Like, I know people who have gotten divorced. So I get that portion of it. But storyline wise, we don't need to drag it on. The girls get off the boat. We go to dinner. Fast forward to dinner. The girls come in. It turns out one of Mia's friends set up the dinner. And this is why right here, I'm telling y'all that the concierge, those was Mia's friends' kids, because Mia's friends set up the damn dinner too. So Mia's friends all come in. Well, one of the friends come in first. And so Giselle, she ends up addressing Karen. Karen doesn't really take any accountability. She's just like making excuses still. And Giselle's like, look, at the end of the day, I think that we need to just work on communicating better with each other. And Karen is like, agree. And Giselle's like, I have been there for you this entire time. And Karen could not refute that. She was like, you're right. You have, y'all. Like, Giselle has been there for me, y'all. And so she's like, I need the same in return. Giselle is in her bag, y'all. Giselle is really in her bag. So Giselle gets up. She's like, well, I need to go see like my daughters. I'll tell them I said hi. They're doing like some graduation stuff. And so she heads out. The rest of the girls walk in. And so they start, Mia sits down. All the girls are sitting down. And so Mia's like, I want all of you girls to like tell a story about me because all of you girls have known me for so long. And I'm like, Mia is like a pimp. Mia's really pimping these girls. She got Jassy and Jacqueline fighting over her. She got all the other girls that have known her for a long time just telling all these like funny stories about her. Mia is like the head pimp in charge. And so Jacqueline, she's feeling insecure and she's jumping in and she's like, yeah, I knew Mia since the Toyota Corolla days. And I'm like, girl, you are looking real like this is the saddest I've ever seen someone look. Is it? It's the saddest I've seen someone look today. And so while they're doing that or whatever, Mia's like, well, I have a story. And so she's like, me, Karen, and Joy, I think it was Joy, me, Karen, and one of the friends went out. And she's like, the friend's like, yeah, I remember that. And she's like, well, afterwards, Karen left. And the friend's like, I remember that also. And Karen butt dialed us. I remember that also. And Karen says on the phone, the girls think I'm with Ray, but I'm with another man. And then we get a to be continued. And I'm like, we did not need a to be continued with that. I'm going to say two things. One, I wish Giselle was there for whatever's going to happen next so Giselle can have Karen's back because I do like them together. I'm glad that they made up really quickly because I was scared that, like, the first few episodes, I'm like, I'd like these two like this. And so when Karen did this whole stunt, I'm like, damn it, they're going to fall out. But I'm glad they made up. So I wish Giselle was there because them as a tag team, especially how they dragged me in the first episode, I had her crying. I wish she was there for that. But the second half of it is we did not need this to be a to be continued because we know what's going to happen. Karen's going to deflect it and just be like, no, that's not true. You're a liar. Like, that's all that's going to come of this. And then the dinner's going to continue. There was no point in this being a to be continued. And this is the thing. Real Housewives of Potomac has a habit of just making everything a to be continued when it does not need to be a to be continued. Not much already happened in this episode, but it is what it is. We are here. It was a decent episode. As much as I'm complaining, and it seems like I'm always dragging them, I live to drag the girls, okay? I can't help myself, but it was a good episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, and subscribe. And bye, y'all.